Warning: what you are about to hear goes against traditional romantic counsel expressed by friends, family, and Instagram memes and quotes. Open-mindedness is advised.
Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody. And welcome to another edition of the Senate. I am your host, Neil Hoyt, and he is our other host, Derek Marshall. And again, we are here. We are here. Derek, how you doing, my
Yes,
brother?
sir.
What's the story?
As always, I'm good. I'm good. Can't wait to get into this week's topic.
Oh boy.
How about you, man? How you doing?
I am great. Got a lot of stuff done today. Got my hair cut, got a shave.
You feeling yourself a little bit?
Well, if we can go viral, I don't want my looks to be in question. You know what I mean?
I get you.
Yeah, I ready. We had some music from G-Syndicate. By now, I think everybody that is listening should know about G-Syndicate and where to find them and where to get all their nice music. Derek, you can let people know who G-Syndicate is. Let them know your socials and
yeah, man. G-Syndicate. We are the premier vocal band and I say vocal band, not vocal group, because we imitate instruments and stuff like that. Premier vocal band in the Caribbean, and we sing everything from R&B to Gregorian chant. Just kidding, but we do most styles of Caribbean music. We do North American styles as well. Shout out you guys, man. Big up Kiamal, Waden, Mark, Brett, and Antonio. Those are the guys that comprise G-Syndicate right now. You can find us and all our music on gsyndicate6.com. You can also learn more about the guys. Follow us for some interesting stuff on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter at G-Syndicate6. We make everything really easy for you. Once you type in that G-Syndicate6, you'll find everything related to us. I see we got a couple of guys in the chat. Hugh in the chat early tonight.
Shout out Hugh.
Good to see you. I can see Young Tricks in the chat as well.
Hey, what's up, brother?
See Keisha Granham in the chat. Welcome. Good night to you as well.
Yeah. I see Jennifer. Good night, Jennifer.
Yeah, you're a little behind. So, yeah, man, it's good to see everybody in the chat and ready for this week's discussion.
Let me get to the dismemberment. So now, everybody, as you know, before every episode, Tuesdays and Thursdays, you can find us. You know where to find us: YouTube, Facebook, the Senate Podcast, Instagram, the Senate Podcast 246, email senateinsession@gmail.com. Anyhow, we went, every Monday, Wednesday, Derek would give you a topic on his personal Facebook page, as well as on the Facebook page, on the Senate's Facebook page, and let you know what's going on in terms of what we're discussing this week. So he put up a picture, he had some caption, and we were talking about something that is very divisive. I don't think a lot of people fully understand it in terms of the terminologies that are encompassed with this one particular topic. People don't quite understand or don't want to understand or just get closed down when they hear certain things, certain terms or whatever. So good night, Cheryl. Good night, Chad. So let's get into it, Derek.
Yeah, man. So this week we're going to delve into the topic of polygamy.
Mm-hmm.
And then out of polygamy, we can talk polygyny and polyandry as well. We can kind of drill down a little bit, see what those things are really about, and not kind of what we have in our head, just to demystify a little bit, as much as we can. And then we're going to move into a kind of closely associated topic, the topic of cheating, but not just cheating for everybody, but this is why do men in particular, have such a nonchalant attitude towards cheating. So that is what we're going to discuss tonight, right? And as usual, I don't just like to air my mouth. I like to do a little bit of research. So the first thing we need to do is kind of define polygamy, right? Polygamy, whether you know it or not, is the practice of marrying multiple spouses. Right? So that when you say polygamy, we're talking man or woman, right? When a man is married to more than one wife at the same time, sociologists call this polygyny. When a woman is married to more than one husband at a time, this is called polyandry. Just run that video there so in the background, let the folks see what we're talking about.
You mean about the young lady?
That young lady,
right.
She has no
So
problem
we can
of
run
having
that,
more than 7 husbands.
Yeah, we
I
playing
can
it
talk,
now.
right? You can talk over that.
Yeah.
So the legal stuff, and you would have seen,
Wait. Hold on. Let me lower the volume a bit.
It depends on
right? You would have seen, I think it was last week in the fan review, the review of the fan submission, that we had an example of polyandry with the lady with 7 husbands, right? And the legal status of polygamy varies widely around the world.
Right.
Polygyny is illegal in 58 out of nearly 200 sovereign states. Polygyny, this is one man, many wives. The vast of them being Muslim majority countries in Africa and Asia. Polyandry, however, is illegal in virtually every country and strictly prohibited in Islam, right? And I found that to be true when I was doing some studying, when I was studying at BCC, and I was doing an ethics course, and they had to do a little bit of research on Muslims and stuff like that, Hinduism, and it's one of my guy Zaire. For those of you who know Zaire Matara, a former national basketballer and practicing Muslim, and he would kind of. Also, the guy who did these shirts, right? They got A-to-Z custom,
for sure,
right? Shameless plug. And he was kind of telling me, within the Muslim faith, they're allowed up to 4 wives. The caveat being, you have to be able to provide for each of them equally, right? So that was the thing. I know it sounds like a good deal to some people. He got 4 wives. Woo-hoo.
No sex.
Yeah, I think that's how most men would look at it, but I'm pretty sure that's not how it works. So, but anyhow, we can press on. Let's press on. We can talk about polygyny, right? Coming out of polygamy, we're talking polygyny. So polygyny is the most common and accepted form of polygamy. Remember, polygamy being the overarching thing, polygyny now being one man, a couple wives, entailing the marriage of a man with several women. Polygyny has several economic, social, and health advantages over monogamy. In most cultures, women contribute significantly to the wealth of the household and can thus materially benefit from the labor of an additional spouse. Polygyny can also have a positive effect on maternal and child health. The perceived advantages of polygyny include sharing of house chores and child rearing. The women's ways of coping included the use of religion, faith, and a strong sisterly bond formed with the co-wives. Though the majority of the women disapproved of polygyny unions, divorce was not an option. So let's not forget, people, we're talking within the Muslim faith,
right?
Predominantly in Africa and Asia. This kind of stuff would not apply to our very Western thinking, right? And it's interesting that they found ways, and they found that it had several benefits to polygyny in that they were able to kind of come together. It was like a pooling of resources of sorts to kind of strengthen the household and the rearing of the children and stuff. And they even got something called co-wives, right? But what I found
Sister wives. But what I found interesting was the majority of the women disapproved of polygyny unions, but divorce was not an option, right? So even within that, the Muslim faith, women were not happy with the sharing thing, right? They really were done with that. So let me switch on and we're going to go to polyandry, which you would have seen in the example of the lady with the 7 husbands, right? So polyandry is a form of polygamy in which a woman takes 2 or more husbands at the same time. Polyandry is contrasted with polygyny, obviously, involving 1 male and 2 or more females. If a marriage involves a plural number of husbands and wives, participants of each gender, then it can be called polygamy, right? Group or conjoint marriage. Group marriage is an interesting concept, right? In its broadest use, polyandry refers to sexual relations with multiple males within or without marriage,
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is our little
Essay.
dive into polygamy, polyandry, polygyny, and it is interesting. My big takeaway from it is that you definitely have pointed it here, on this part of the world, but even within that setup where um, women are kind of, we kind of get the impression that women kind of just go along with these kind of things in that part of the world, but it seems like if that is not necessarily the case, right? They're sorry, let me not say that. They go along with it. They don't have a choice in it. They go along with it, but then a lot of times they're not necessarily happy. But they're saying there are several advantages to polygyny in that there are economic, social, and health advantages over monogamy, right? And the women contribute significantly to the wealth of the household and thus can materially benefit from the labor of an additional spouse. So everybody coming and working together. It would be interesting to see what that would look like within a Western household,
Boy.
and a Western kind of thinking.
Yeah.
It definitely would be interesting to see and to consider what the approaches would be to something like this. Within, 'cause I know we men, we like to think, oh, this would be just, I see man here, so try to give me talk with my scars.
Oh, look,
But anyhow,
tell them.
yeah, that's what Philip Burt. Shout out Philip.
Yeah, don't hit.
Yeah. But yeah, man, we would like to think, a lot of men think of it as, shoot, for remember that's 4 sets. So you know what? But I'm pretty sure it'd be 4 sets of stress too. I see Jimmy saying exactly that.
Jimmy said 4 sets of stress.
Yeah.
So he's not a fan.
Jimmy's not a fan. But I'm curious to see what the guys in the chat would have to say with regard to the whole idea of polygyny and polygamy and stuff like that. What is your take on it, Neil?
So you know me, just like you, I may not go on the websites. Oh, before those terms and everything like that, can you give references so that people don't feel that we're just making up things? You know what I mean? Get the websites, you gotta get the sources. You know, remember when we used to do our dissertations or SBS?
That's the gospel according to Wikipedia. So that's a quick Google search, man.
Well, my thought on it. So I would have talked to some women about it, right? You know, most women would have said, "Hell no." You know what I mean? Like, them in working with that. You want one man, and the pervasive thinking is, men are securers, providers, in all the leads. So especially emotionally, and women provide the nurturing, the receiving, the kind of emotional aspect of it. So once they feel emotionally safe, then they feel emotionally empowered to provide it and reciprocate it. So most women say that is very difficult to do when you have multiple partners, multiple husbands, multiple wives. One woman in particular, she said that she has no problem with polygamy once the man is worth it, once the man is worthy of showing that he can lead that lifestyle. He's decisive. He uses his initiative. He is strong-willed, and he still has a bit of the divine feminine to, be nurturing, providing stability and security emotionally to have that space with everybody. Once he can balance all of those, once he can balance all of those households, once he can balance all of his responsibility, and it doesn't come over disrespectful, or it doesn't come over as impeding on duties within each family subsect or wife subsect, then they don't have any. Well, that woman has no problem in, submitted to a man with multiple wives or multiple partners. Now, my take on it, my thoughts. I think that, in preparing for this, obviously we would know that this was on the docket many, many, many. Like from the first time we started this podcast, we knew we were going to do this. And in preparing for it, I said I could tackle it from either standpoint, right? I could tackle it from a standpoint of in favor of polygamy, and all that encompasses, or I can speak from a space of speaking out against it. I would say it depends on the man. If we're talking about a man with multiple wives, the man with multiple wives, he must be on his A game. He must be a man. He must know what he is about. He must know what he is not standing for. He must be very transparent with everyone involved, whether it is him with multiple wives, multiple partners, whatever. He has to be willing to lay his cards out on the table very early on, be very decisive, be no nonsense, understand when and where to provide emotional security for a woman, and know when to transmit what he wants to each wife. Is a huge undertaking for a man, because every woman is different and you're catering to multiple partners. So you have to be very, very secure and confident in yourself as a man. You have to be very confident and secure in your ability to run not only your relationship with one person, but multiple relationships, right? So it is like, it can sound weird, but you can't be unfaithful to your multiple partners, right? If you tell the 2 wives, 3 wives that you have, yo, I am looking for multiple partners, right? You say that early on in the juggling, right? You say, look, I don't have any problem in dating you. I have no problem committed to you. I have no problem with being domesticated with you. I have no problem with living with you. However, I want to explore this with multiple people. I feel as though I can do this with multiple people. I can be committed to multiple people. And if those women you say that to early out in the juggling are about that living, then once you are transparent, you're honest, there's literally no space for emotional deception, financial deception, emotional deception. There's physical. You have to be upfront in every possible way and encourage and foster every woman kind of coming together, understanding that we are a family and that we are doing the best for it. Is not a part. It is like a company, but it's not like a 2-man band. You know what I mean? You're trying to expand. That is 4, and I can see it. But it takes not only from the man, but the woman as well to receive that from a man, receive that energy from a man, and be able and be comfortable within herself and be confident in her divine feminine to be able to project that nurturing for multiple children. And I don't mean to say multiple children, I mean your children and other sister wife children. Being able to cook for multiple women, being able to be cool with your man going off with another wife or partner, right? I'm not talking about, again, it is all about transparency for the man. And once you as the woman decide that you're on board with that and you're committed to that and the man is worthy of that, this is very important, that the man is worthy of that, of leading. Because watch right there, right? If everybody sets up in that and a man has multiple wives or multiple multiple partners, if he is showing that he's incapable of leading himself and he's incapable of leading one partner, then how can he lead multiple women? It takes a very, very strong man and a very, very strong woman and very, very strong women to be able to endure that lifestyle, because it is not easy. You have to be comfortable as a woman seeing your man showing affection to other women, but he has to do it in a way that you don't feel left out, that you don't feel as though you're being shortchanged or you're being ignored or taken away from. No, that is the 4. The against is that we in the Western world have been indoctrinated into monogamy, right? We have seen that from as far back as the slavery days, right? We have seen it when the white man has one wife. We see that we were taught Christianity, and with that came monogamy, right? Marriage. With that came understanding that that is a sacred, holy union under the eyes of God, and we are not going away from that. It is me and you against the world, right? We can figure it out, we can deal with it. And so based on that, we are now in a society where we've seen our great-grandmother, great-grandfather all coming through the ages, and not only us in our line, but in society at large, politicians, the pastor, people that are prominent in society, doctors at that time, pharmacists at that time, people that were prominent in society always had one woman. To the point now where if a man decided to come, shoot, we have laws against it. So even if a man were to come up with multiple partners, and the thing is, we as men too get a little afraid because we know that women are not on that level. They're not on that in that space to receive having another partner being on her level as well with the man. So that's why we men would lie. That's why we men would cheat. That's why we men would not come out and say, look, here tune, right? I love you. I committed to you. I am breaking this union. However, they got a woman that want to join the sisterhood. And the thing is, we got to stop thinking about it, men, that we can have multiple ways, so we having orgies. Like, it ain't that. It isn't that, because there's a space and a time for each subsection of the relationship. So don't look at it as I got two wives, so every Tuesday night is orgy. Yeah, no. You have to be the same thing you would do with one woman. You got to double that effort of commitment, that level of providing, that level of masculine nurturing, that level of understanding. That whatever you provide in one relationship, you have to provide for the other relationship, and be completely honest. I don't think that we men and or women are able to do that, especially in the Black community, because of the struggles that we are in our society, right? We don't even know. We have been fed Christianity, but we really don't know what Christianity is for us. We don't even know if it is that. We just take it. And because Christianity is the dominant religion here in the Caribbean and for a wide subset of the Westerners, the Black community, we are not going to accept breaking the laws of God, which is one man, one woman under the eyes of God, right? So that's where we'll say it's not going to work, because a lot of men too, they're fearful. You can't be fearful if you're going into polygamy. You cannot be fearful. You got to stand up on who you are and stand up on your honesty and truth. You cannot be fearful, because the moment you have doubt and fear is the moment that lies are going to start to creep in. You can start to say, yeah, I going here by the hardware store, but you really going by the outside woman, or you going to the second wife. You understand what I mean? So a lot of men and the thing is, there are a lot of men that do have a wife and a mistress and have a second family and have multiple women and stuff like that. And it is understood that the outside women, the man ain't leaving his wife or his main girl for the outside women. There's a commitment still, and they stand up on that, which is honorable and which is fine. But at the end of the day, you are not being transparent to your wife, right? Because you know full well, if you ruffle that feather and you know that you bring, because you weren't honest at the beginning, you weren't honest from the start. So to interject that level of transparency midway in the relationship or the marriage is a recipe for disaster. So in my opinion, I could see it going both ways, but I don't think our society or us individually, men and women, and us as a society, we are ready for something like that, because we are Black and we are Christians. So based on that rule, based on what we would have seen before, how we were, because there's Christianity too, but there's also what we would have seen from our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, coming all the way down through the line. We literally have seen monogamy. So it is interesting hearing that one woman say about polygamy. I actually raised my eyebrow and I said, oh yeah, you sound sweet. But I do see what she is saying, and I do agree. But the level of strength of character you have to have as a man and a woman, and the laurels you have to stand on, and the energy you have to do in providing what you need to provide as a man, and what the woman has to receive as a woman, is really, 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 really hard for them to swallow.
Let me dive in the chat a little bit. Cross is saying in the Muslim societies, it's forbidden for women to have several husbands because it's a patriarchal setup. Patriarchal in the true sense of the word. There are matriarchal societies where it is legal. However, those societies tend to be quite small and ruled over by a dominant patriarchal governing body. Cheryl, welcome Cheryl. Cheryl is saying it would have to be the first wife, second at most, so I can set the terms for the other wives.
But no, you see, no, there's a problem now, because you're still looking at it from an ego standpoint. You're still looking at it from a jealousy standpoint, because you have to set the tone. You still have to dictate. But you see, in a polygamy, in a polygamous situation, you ain't dictating. The man is completely ahead. The man is the lead. And he has to equally, sorry Derek, but he has to equally balance you, the second wife, the third wife, the fourth wife, so that you don't feel like you have to stand up and say I dictated things to let the other support. Like you look at the subordinates, and that's not how it should work. That's not how it can work.
Yeah, I think you touched on it earlier when you said, you know, the man has to be essentially on his A game. You know, we talk a lot here about, you know, striving to be the best version of yourself and stuff like that. And it is impossible because it says if you have 4 wives, for example, you have to provide for each of them equally.
Equally, correct.
So even from a financial standpoint, let me deal with just a financial standpoint. Let me forget the sex, because I know when people hear that, they generally think, oh, there's a lot of sex here. They say it's orgy night every Tuesday, right? Yeah. But even from a purely financial position, you can't do that if you brag. You know what I mean? If
your money up,
if you hustle, if you money in up, you know what I'm saying? You can do. And then if you look at the sexual part of it, now, if your health in up, you can't provide. You know what I mean? So
you actually gotta be Superman. You have to be a Superman.
Yeah, you got to be a Superman to pull this off. So in terms of your health got to be right, so that's you gaining the gym, working on stuff like that, eating right, making sure that everything is correct,
mentally healthy.
Your mind got to be right, because we know how it could be sometimes. You know, the man-woman dynamic,
and that's going to be multiplied by how many other partners? By how many other partners you decide to have.
So there's that to consider. It's not just going to be a bed of roses. You're thinking, as you say, you know, you come home Tuesdays, orgy night, let me rock. Nah. So you as a man in a situation like that will have to be on your A game, like as you say, a Superman to get up a lot. I mean, when we look at a guy like Lou Williams, for example, Lou Williams, NBA player, he had 2 girlfriends for a long time, and it was known. You know, he taking pictures with them and that kind of thing, and they were cool. But again, why? Lou Williams, over 6 feet tall, multi-millionaire, NBA athlete, so in like peak physical health. Right. So he's able to provide for them on that level, right? So it requires you being, you know, that kind of guy. Cross is saying we should also talk about the Western version of open relationships. Let me come back to that. Erica Watson, this is her first time.
Hey, Erica.
So welcome, Erica. Good to see you here.
Thanks for joining.
We hope you come back. Thanks for joining in. Bring a friend next time. And at this point, let me just say, everybody, you can like, subscribe, share all that. The Senate Podcast here on Facebook, the Senate Podcast on YouTube, the Senate Podcast 246 on Instagram. And of course, if you have any submissions for us, any topics you want us to cover, you can check us out. Send us an email at senateinsession@gmail.com. Karen is in the house. Good night,
Good night, Karen. Glad to see you.
Cross is saying, I don't agree that it can't work. I know of people in open relationships, all know, man and woman, with multiple men and women. If you know what you're about and find a partner/partners who are on the same page, you're golden. It's just not for everybody. The man is only the lead in a polygamous relationship if it's only the man with multiple wives/girlfriends. This is still viewing things from the Muslim example given before. It's just one way that such relationships work. And Steve is in the house. Welcome, Steve. Good to see you as always, buddy.
Wait. Just before you continue there, I wanted to make a point. My point was Cross would have spoken about, oh dear, lost the thought. But Cross would have spoken about the societal differences, the cultural differences between Muslim and the Western world, right? We here in the Caribbean, we here in the Americas and everything like that. But she does have a point in that their society is a true patriarchal society. Their setup literally does not empower women. They don't, I'm not going to get into their beliefs or whatever, but their women are subjugated, right? So for us, of course, we have made certain steps, leaps and bounds, and as having a system where women have equal opportunity as men. We're moving more and more to equality in terms of work and certain benefits and stuff like that. So it is challenging for us here, especially once we've empowered the women. Shoot, men and women can't get a one man, one woman thing right. You know what I mean? Like we don't communicate well as men. Women don't receive. Sorry, men don't receive communication well. We don't communicate well, and women, you know, we are both hardwired differently in terms of our communication, in terms of our expectation, and everything like that. So, um, if you want to get into polygamous situation, or even if you want to date multiple people, it is all right. The point I want to make is very important. The emotional part. Derek was speaking about the financial part of it, but it's very, very important that emotionally that you, because really a man's job is to provide. His job is to provide. So he's providing a space where emotionally he's making himself available, and it is a secure space. And the woman is to foster that, she's to nurture that, and she is to reflect that for the man, take care of it for the man. So he provides that emotional vulnerability and she protects it. Sorry, not protects it. She nurtures it, she grows it, she enforces it, she makes sure that that is taken care of. He has to provide that as a man. If you want multiple partners, if tonight you're dealing with a woman, you gotta do the same thing with the woman tomorrow, another woman tomorrow night. You can't 1 week say you're dating Sonia and the next week you dating. No, because at the end of the day, if you know, let's say Sonia is a woman that likes to text during the day or talk during the day, and you got Paulette. Paulette is the same way, but you got Francis, I don't know, I call her names, Diane, and she likes a different energy. You have to keep track of all of those energies. You have to keep track of the emotional energy you put forth. You have to take care of, because financial to me in this situation is very easy. Shoot, if you got a million, if you're a millionaire, you could provide. Providing they eat hard financially, right? If you have your money up your on your A game, physically, and that's another thing too. You have to juggle the financially, the physically, and then you still have to emotionally make sure that you are not treating one woman more than the other. Because when she sees that, when one woman sees that, she's gonna say, "Well, shoot, this man literally just having a good time. This man is not really about providing the emotional, physical stability and commitment that I thought he was about." So, in a bed of roses, let's say that no, it sounds good on paper, and then consider you got to service multiple women at the same time. Tonight, Sonia. Tomorrow, Paulette. Then Thursday is somebody else. The more wives you add on, the more you got to service. I used to hear about the men that have a harem or a concubine. Men got a wife, 3 wives, or 50 wives, 20 wives, or whatever. And I used to be like, I don't know how that does work, because and it works in that because those women, it is a patriarchal system, so they can't complain, they can't get vexed, they can't get away. You know what I mean? That is the rule, that is the law, right? But we here in the Caribbean, man, it sounds real good to got 3 and 4 wives, but all 3 and 4 wives empowered to say, we watching you, my brother, and you need to provide, my brother, so don't slip up, my brother.
The thing with that, as Carl is saying, the man is only the lead in a polygamous relationship if it's only the man with multiple wives and girlfriends. But then when you start to include, okay, you the man got multiple partners, and then the wife or girlfriend got multiple partners,
that all over the place to me.
That sounds like cacophony, and
There's a lot of moving parts and a lot of people to kind of check the self in the feelings, check the ego.
Not only the ego, I mean, check yourself in at FMH. We're gonna pick up here.
I mean, we obviously not talking about the obvious, which is STD and everything like that, because that's even another level of it. You have to protect. You have to protect yourself and your partners, man and woman. So if you're a man and you got 4 or 5 different women and everybody agree to sleep with everybody, and the women say, you know what, I know you got 4 wives, but I'm cool with that. Everybody gotta get tested regular. If one person decide, man, look, this man ain't paying me no attention, this man here could give me a little saying here, she gonna pick up saying no, all of that kit and caboodle through the window. So it's a level of honesty. Like, to me, it is super honesty and checking of ego for both man and woman. I understand it. If you ever got a doubt or fear as a man, you are gonna create that in the woman, because the woman rarely receives. You understand what I'm saying? So if you project fear, doubt, lies, insecurities, whatever, the woman is gonna pick that up, and she's gonna take that and say, "This man, like, I don't really understand this man, yeah."
Well, all right. Let me leave it there, right? Let me leave it there, because I want to push on, and since Cross has asked about open relationships and stuff like that. Then we kind of make a little segue into the other aspect of it, and it asks, why are men so nonchalant about cheating, right? So, we run a little something for the sister there, Shahrazad Ali.
Which one you want me to run?
Now you can run any. I think you got 3 of them,
Right.
so you can run all through one
behind the other.
So,
All right. I gonna start with your boy MTR.
Yeah, big shout out, mediocre tutorials and reviews.
Yep.
And this is a conversation he had with Shahrazad Ali.
That
I think
we only have 2
Yeah,
choices.
run it.
2 weeks ago. So
Yeah, run
If
it.
you're going to be with a man, you're going to be the woman or the other woman. The other woman is not a mistress. That's just your other woman.
Uh-oh. And they
you
mad at
all,
that.
That would settle many of you down if you could just acknowledge that and stop the sneaking and hiding and ducking and lying and running from here to there. We don't have a lot of time for our life because we're so busy checking your cell phone, emptying your pockets, smelling in your car. We just spend our life being the FBI instead of taking time to enjoy the relationship we're in and stay in your lane. Which, if you're going to be the wife, then go be a wife. That's a good thing to be. And if you're going to be the other woman, then be that. None of that requires any fighting and cussing and calling up people on the phone and just being totally savage. That doesn't require that. No woman is going to have just one man by herself. Not because I said so, but it's because how history has been. Go back. How many trillions of years you want to go back before we look at the fact that there's never been a black man on the earth who only loved one woman? So it's not like he's keeping something from us. It's something, ladies, that's not available. Okay? It's not the deal breaker. It doesn't have to be. And women break up all the time with men. He cheated on me. Who taught us that? Where did we get those ideas from? And how did sex become the only deal breaker? If my husband had went out and blew his check, we're going to rock and roll that night. Because that's important to the establishment and the maintenance of the family. Good black woman practices non-possessive loving. Now, y'all know that's a hard one. Now, envy is wanting what someone else has. And jealousy, of course, is just selfishness. Non-possessive loving is not an easy one for us to practice. Now, envy is wanting what someone else has. A man can have 2 homes, 2 sets of in-laws. He can eat dinner at 2 houses, 2 sets of children, 2 garages, 2 separate sets of friends attached to that woman. He can have all of that. We can't do that. We can't cook dinner at 2 houses. We can't sleep with one man 4 nights a week and another one 3. Ain't no man.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. And that is from a black woman, and she has been saying this. I've seen some of her speeches from the 70s. So
when you look and see that the clips are them from 2000. Them
that's from
those are from back in the day. So we're talking about the whole polygamy, polyandry, polygyny, and stuff like that. And the sister raises the point that there seem to be different rules for men and women where this thing is concerned, right? In that men are able to have a family here and a family there, right? We know within the Caribbean context that that's happened for years. And sometimes families only meet at a funeral. When you see some people turn out and say, yeah, but them look like me. And you realize that, them is brothers and sisters. But we can start to talk some gender roles and think a little bit traditional roles. I
waiting.
I know the family don't like to hear these things, but you talk traditional roles. But she's talking now as an older woman about the role of the woman in the society, the role of the woman within a household, within a relationship, within a marriage, for example, having to take care of home and hearth, right? And the man, not charged with that responsibility, is a little bit more free to kind of philander here and there, right? And I just found those interesting. The first clip with MTR, and she said, you know, a woman has two choices. You could be the woman, or you could be the other woman. And that made me laugh. I found it interesting. I'm really curious as to what the family in the chat will have to say about that. But because I think it was Erica that came in, and she said she's too jealous to share.
But you see, you finish your point. Finish your point.
Yeah. So when we come back to what you were saying earlier, Neil, in terms of you got to kind of like check your ego when you go into a situation like this.
Got to humble yourself, and you have to be discerning to decide, because she is jealous because she is afraid of being left out. That makes sense? And so if she has a partner and she is sharing the man, or the man has multiple partners or whatever, she is jealous because she has an expectation of his time. She expects an expectation of him to spend all of his free time with her, or speaking to her, or whatever. Therefore, the man would now have to, because he's going to obviously be sharing his time with multiple women, right? So, and then too, there's you thinking, because we as humans, we get into our feelings, we get into our head, and we be picturing our partners having sex with other people, whether we like to or not, and we start to think about, oh, does he say I love you like he said I love you to me? Or does she say that this so-and-so is mine, this boom is mine, this is yours? To, it's there's an ego part of it that comes in. That's why I say, and you know what, Erica, is not for everybody. Shoot, I question I literally don't think that I can handle a situation like that, simply because there are parts of myself as a man I need to fix. There are things that I need to level up. My man Darren's always talking about abundance mindset. There are things that I need to level up. Health, wealth, emotional stability, everything holistically I need to level up. Not saying that when I level up, I get love for multiple women, but I'm saying that right now, if I were to find 3 women that would say, you know what, you're a great man on paper, we want you to be our husband or man, I don't think I could provide that with multiple women, because financially I'm not there, physically I'm not there, and emotionally I'm not there. And I'm honest with myself to say that. So it is fine, Erica, if you're not about it, that you're jealous or whatever. I am not even going to go and say, shoot, you shouldn't be jealous. Jealous is a construct of, I am again into psychoanalyzing that, because shoot, I can't tell you that if I had a woman and the woman got 3 other men, that I would be like, yeah, man, I'm cool with that. Because watch it, in the reverse of that, where a woman, that woman that has 5, 7 men, 7 husbands, right? Understand that she now takes on the energy of a man, a masculine energy. She takes on providing that emotional safety. She providing financially. She is providing in all the leads, right? The security within that. And those men have to now go into the feminine aspect of it and receive. You understand? So it works for them. I ain't saying that it can't work. I'm not saying that is not what. If you could find 7 men that could all be willing to submit to a woman and make their feminine be more dominant and suppress their masculine, then albeit go for it. But you know, I see the chat kind of moving, Derek. So I don't know if you want.
Yeah. Let me see if we can kind of get in there a little bit. Anyway, my thing seems to be moving a little slowly, so.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Let me see if we can nip back in here a little bit.
I don't even know where he left off.
You're having a little strange.
Oh, I see Cheryl call my name. I see Cheryl. Kneel back to you, sir. Oh boy.
Yeah, I was seeing a comment from Hugh, but I'm not seeing it.
Let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, Hugh. So about the polyandry definition, Derek. Read. Let's talk straight, Bajan. Underline the correct response in brackets or select the other options. Wanna think a few enough women both here already do that? Not so openly, secretly, or this don't happen at all, or no comments? Yeah, they definitely got women that got multiple partners. I mean, shoot, we got a friend of ours that start about a roster. Let me tell you, like the woman. As a matter of fact, a woman schooled him to that terminology and that lifestyle. You know what I mean? Like, you got to go a roster, buddy, and you are on it. And that told him, well, shoot, let me see if I can be on the roster. And I almost called him my name. I don't know if you want me to call his name or not, but that friend, when he speaks about a roster, it is almost as though some of his, I think, most successful situations, it was understood that the other person was on a roster. And the person understood that you were on a roster. No, I don't know if you had a main girl or if all the women were on a roster, but you kind of got to, like, women got, obviously, again, when we're talking about multiple partners, not marriage and husband or whatever, if we're talking about dating, not being a boyfriend or girlfriend, like that, women here don't have 5 and 6 different boyfriends. Men don't have 5 and 6 different girlfriends, at least not officially, right? In their head, they're playing the field. In their head, they're in it for the sex. This is men. In it, they're into what the other person doesn't provide. Women, some women, we've heard this story before. A lot of women would do that for the, like, would have a lot of men to help pay bills for their sex. For if I call one man and he ain't available, I got another man here in the wing that ready to take over whatever duties I need, whatever service I need taken care of. So women do it. The thing is with polyandry and with the partner situation of it is kind of tricky because you have to be transparent, but you don't technically have to be, because you're dating. You're not in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship with nobody. So you got to kind of say, look, you on a roster. If you're cool with that, I can kick it with you 2 days a week. But know that you can't be blowing up my phone, asking me where you went, who I with, whatever. This goes for man and woman. And that still is within itself a level of transparency, if you understand what I'm saying. Right?
Yep. Generally, I think that's how it would work within a Western context, more Western context, in that you would find women do it better, man.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Women
We
would
can't
tell you,
lie.
listen,
We can't lie good.
women would tell you, listen, I got my man. I don't intend to left my man. He's do X, Y, Z for me and the children or whatever, but he like you. So here we're going on. This is the situation. You will get these 2 days here because I do X or Y on these 2 days, and that would carve out a little time for me to meet up with you, and we have a little fun or whatever, and that would be that. But don't expect that you can come and run out my husband. We always understand that my husband or a man comes first.
Right.
The challenge here is that with polygyny and polyandry, all the parties involved know. But within the Western context, it seems as if we kind of like one person seems to be left out of the loop. So yeah, you got your husband, but you know, as Hugh was kind of alluding to, I get dip out here with this fella. So me and the fella know, but the husband don't know. Right? And that is kind of where everything falls apart, because when it does come out in the wash, then you realize somebody feelings hurt and that kind of thing. So
feeling of deception and being later.
Yeah, and you talked about the honesty and the honest approach to it and stuff like that. But generally speaking, I can't think of too many people, man or woman, that are cool with the idea of, you know, the person that they think is their forever person just going out there and nipping out and coming back, you know. And so that's why, as you say, people kind of see if you can sneak out and do a little sign and come back. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to. And then, all right, let me again. You know, you don't be talking straight.
Right,
so,
right.
One of the things that Shahrazad Ali, she asked the question at the end of the first clip: why does the sex have to be a deal breaker in a relationship? That was one of the questions she asked. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago when we said, you know, men are capable, very, very capable of just going out, doing saying, I came back home, and it don't mean nothing.
Yeah.
Right? But certainly not to him, you know. And I gave the analogy last week, which seems to be pretty graphic. People then, you know, weren't particularly happy. Well, not happy, but seemed a little bit grossed out by the analogy of a man comparing ejaculation to urination. I mean, you gotta go, you gotta go. You prefer to be going in certain circumstances, but if you can't meet those circumstances, you go wherever. You just gotta go. So that's the thing. So men have a very different approach to sex and cheating and stuff like that compared to women. So let me just dive into, let me talk about some cheating a little bit. And we ask the question, what is considered cheating in a relationship? I think we got to start there. That's the first thing we need to kind of work out. What do we consider cheating? In short, cheating is being emotionally or sexually unfaithful to your partner with whom you are in a monogamous relationship. Being intimate sexually or emotionally with another person is usually considered cheating. So right. It's interesting that they talk about emotional and sexual cheating, right? Those are the things that seem to be considered cheating. And then you got to ask yourself, why do people cheat? Why do people cheat? And we got a whole set, well, it's just a couple. Anger or revenge, falling out of love, opportunity. Some people got commitment issues. Some people got unmet needs. And then there's some people who just got that sexual desire. So that's why it happens, right?
Licorice.
The licorice. Some people want some variety. Oddly enough, then there's low self-esteem. And that is actually a reason why people will cheat. Oddly enough. So now that you kind of delve into what cheating is, why people do it. Yeah, so coming back to Dion there. Yeah. Right. So when you talk about cheating and stuff like that, I think Dion is making a very valid point in that relationships we describe it about one person being left out. That is not polygamy. That's not polyandry, polygyny. That's just flat out cheating, as we call it. We had a very interesting discussion a couple weeks ago, and we said, hey, you know, men can kind of nip out and do something and come back. And it tends to be a deal breaker for most women. Men tend to be able to believe it or not. Say, come back and women, if everything over. So that is why we come back to people excluding somebody, because you don't want to say, you don't want to give up everything. Sometimes you just want a little variety, as one of the reasons said. So somebody just want to nip out, get a little variety, or fulfill whatever itch that they need to get scratched and come back, right? And they don't want to give up the 80% for the 20%. And it is very difficult for people to say, because again, the ego gets in it. They say, well, shoot, without body got that I don't have. You know, without body giving you that I can't give you. And sometimes it could be some very simple things. And men just want to go and do whatever and come back. It's just you don't want to give up everything, which is why, me, Neil, I always question the whole marriage thing. Somebody made the point to me earlier today or yesterday that it doesn't make sense to go and get married if you want to still, double dip, essentially. So for me, if you want to do that thing, I would say just left it out. Dion is saying the fundamental problem is that what is good for the goose is really good for the gander. Yeah. And that's just the double standard. That's just the double standard. We had a very interesting discussion on Saturday with a young lady who was saying that, women love harder than men. And Men don't handle horns well and that kind of thing.
Oh, can't take a horn.
Can I take a horn? It was a very interesting discussion. And coming out of that, we discovered that both men and women have some very interesting ways of
Dealing with
handling something like that. And we also discovered that the men and women, they do have destructive ways of handling it, but women would rarely harm self. Men tend to be more inclined to harm themselves. And let me see what we got here. We got Erica. Erica is saying it's a lying and disrespect that comes with cheating, whether physical or emotional. Yeah. I really want to be careful with what I say because I don't want it to be misconstrued as me condoning or justifying what happens, right? But again, this channel, this space provides you the insight into the man's brain more often than not. I'm not saying that all men think like us, and certainly not all men think like me, but this just give you some insight. It becomes, I had this thought as I was getting ready for the show. If a man said to a woman, here what's going on, I got you and everything good, but you see that girl over there, like that girl, I would like to have sex with her. I don't want a relationship, no name. I would just like to have sex with her. Not that, having sex with you is wrong or bad or anything like that. I would just like to have sex with that girl. Would you be cool with that? Most women I know would lose their minds at the unmitigated temerity of a man to ask them a question like that. Right? And it would be a flat out no.
Hell no.
Can't happen. I ain't about it. As in the immortal words of Caswell, ain't gonna work with me. And the woman will tell you straight.
Hell no.
Right? Women ain't about it. So then that is why the lying and the disrespect, as Erica's saying, would come into play. Because people want what they want, right? Men and women, people want what they want. And if a man says, I want that, especially if it is in his orbit, like constantly in his orbit, a man is going to say, because, hey, one of the reasons was opportunity. If he gets the opportunity, he's going to try, right? The only saying, because men don't want to visualize others with their women.
Nobody wants to visualize their partner with somebody else.
No. Got some different people that walking about the place now.
Well, I know. I can't. I don't know.
Naka is saying you'll be welcome, Naka. Good to see you.
Good night,
you may
Naka.
have the kind of relationship that you can tell me so, but if you act on it, and there you go, right? I don't know if I shared this story with all guys a couple of weeks ago. I think I did, but there was a guy who said straight up, "Listen, my wife and I have no problems, but I like you. We could work out."
I like saying,
and that was cool. But here's the thing: could he say that to his wife? Could he say that to his wife? Probably not.
Hell no.
Right? Probably not. So that is where the challenge comes. Right? Same if a woman said she wanted a piece of a next man or a woman. Depending on how big of a pervert the man is cross, your mom would be willing to rock and roll with that, But again, back to the point, men tend to be a little bit more self-destructive when stuff like that comes up. And I always wonder if it would be easier for everybody to say at the outset, listen, we can do the open relationship thing as Cross mentioned earlier. You do your thing, I can do my thing. Let me just keep it discreet, and we can handle it. We can work it out. Because let's not forget, back in the day, marriage was a business thing.
Yep.
It was. I think we get caught up in the whole "me, I love you forever," blah blah blah.
Forever.
Right.
And ever.
It's all love and thing, and I love you forever till a horn sure. You know what I mean?
Especially depending on what kind going on. I mean, I like to talk about good things, or
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I got there as well. You know, you just want something different, or you're looking for something else.
yeah.
And you got to wonder if if you won't be better served to say, listen, let me just keep it open. We are together for X purpose. I know a man that got married because he wanted to retire at 50, right? So the relationship, the marriage was not necessarily for let me say this forever, happily forever after, whatever it is inside the any stories, live happily ever after, right? That's it. It wasn't necessarily for that, but it was a business decision. We can get married because we can pool these resources to get X and Y so we can retire at X age, you know what I mean? And along the way, you kind of fall in love and then you work from there, right? But I really think that we kind of get caught up in the whole, this is my man and this is my woman, and nobody ain't dealing with my man and my woman that kind of way. And
To the point where some people just don't want them to even like Instagram posts or talk to another woman or shoot, go to work with a woman that look good. You can't have any type of relationship with another man at all.
Yeah, that don't sound particularly healthy to me, but I Granham is saying here hard no, you know what I mean? So that's why, again, I don't want it to be misconstrued as me endorsing or justifying, but that's where the lying and the disrespect comes in. To Dion's point, that was good for the goose is good for the gander. Here's an interesting tidbit for you, right? Men cheat at a rate of about 29%, right? Women cheat. Anybody want to take a guess at that number? The disparity is not as great as you would think. Because there are 24% of women cheat in a relationship. So, yeah, they got 29%, 25%, 24%, however you want to look at it. So, it's not to say that, it's 60% of men, because the misconception is that men cheat at like 80%.
Yeah, that's how men.
Women are princesses and bastions of virtue.
That's why they say all men are dogs, right? Rate. And I would even venture to say there a lot of women don't look at the emotional side of cheating. As long as they ain't sleep with the man, as long as they ain't kiss another man, as long as he ain't do anything with another man, that physical, she did not cheat. Well, how many women walking around now, if you really, because look at the context you put cheating in, emotional and sexual intimacy. So now, how many women we know, shoot, that are engaged in those types of activities and not having had sex or anything like that? Like, how many women will feel comfortable about their man going through their not saying I'm not advocating that, but if a man were to go through your WhatsApp and see somebody chats and somebody flirting and whatever,
your DMs,
your DMs and things, right, and how you respond to other men, right? That's cheating. So when you look at that and you look at the context with which you described, a lot more women cheat, or sorry, as you said, the disparity is not that great.
Yeah, it's not. Everybody doing some dirt. You know what I mean? And shoot, even in this chat, I don't really want to put you all in the spot, but shoot, if you ever do some horning, you put some words in the chat.
I see. Watch my girl Dion. No, I love Dion. Dion come with the statistical mind. She's saying, I'm not surprised that they start giving the ratio of men to women, meaning that even though it's a little bit of we still got the numbers up.
Yeah, man, men can do a thing. Men can do a thing. But I want her to consider that there are more women. So that 24%, 25% is actually more than the 29%.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Just saying.
I'm just saying. She came with.
Saying.
She's coming with the. She's coming with. I don't want to say. I don't want to say analytical smoke and mirrors, but essentially, which is funny, you know. You were a man that never used to like mathematics back at school. We got some funny stories about that, but it's very interesting that you picked up on that.
I worked it out fast, man.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, still 24% of a million versus. What was the other percent? Was the other percent for men?
29.
Because I think they say there are 3 women to every 1 man, right?
Yeah.
Right. So if you have 600, it's 600 women, and
all right. Don't let me get into that idea.
Right.
That's too much mass for me.
Right. 600 to 200, right? If 24% of women are cheating versus how much a man you said? 29?
Yeah.
Right. We still getting out horn? We still get out horn?
Yeah, we still trying to keep up with the ladies.
Oh, they say, good night, Natalia. Glad to see you. You've been missed the last couple of times you didn't. I mean, I think you were there last time, but you know. Dion is saying, no, I mean that there are more women than men, so people will double up, so to speak.
Well, but here we go, Dion.
Let's get it.
Since you brought it up, if our rational mind, we can sit here and we can say there are more women than men, so people will double up, so to speak, as we say.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that such a hard concept for us to deal with within a relationship? Right? If they're saying 1 in 4 women will get married, right? 1 in 4 women will get married. Well, there's black women, but 1 in 4 black women get married. But they got a whole set of men up there. You think the other 3 women can just sit down, fold their hand and lap and not procreate and stuff like that? They may want to have little sex too. You know what I mean? And we've worked it out that we can say, yeah, I see y'all trying to
yeah, how many people were in that study to get the statistic?
I see you.
Could be 10, could be 1,000. Does it matter?
Yeah, I see you. Because the reality is, even here in Barbados, and again, I noticed the boy putting ones in the chat, right? If you've ever done some horning, put some ones in the chat. Everybody do a little horning.
Everybody. And I don't mean, I ain't sleep with nobody. I always faithful to my mind. You sure you don't want to give up your phone so we can really see? How many, I know women that got a man, that will got a man, have never, ever physically cheated on their boyfriend. Never physically cheated. But somehow would have a man send him a dick pic. Consistently. She would say, listen, I ain't trying to see that. Keep that to yourself. And then the man would say, all right, no problem. I respect that. But send another dick pic. And you say, yo, brother, I really would let you. I have a man. I ain't really about seeing the dick pics. Keep that to yourself. To me, anything after that, no. You ain't blocking and deleting the man. Anything after that is you enabling that. Whether you like the man penis or not, whether you like the picture or not, whether you like the attention or not, the fact of the matter is if a man keeps doing these things, if you know your partner ain't gonna be cool with that. Because I want to ask the woman, you know, a woman told me she's received a lot of penis pics, unsolicited penis pics, which, men, stop it for real, because some of these stories she has about men is, like, I'm ashamed that some of y'all creepy. Right. So like literally she would say, you know, there's a guy she keep having to repeatedly say stop sending those kind of pics. And one day she was like, good morning. No, he was like, good morning, honey, how you doing? So yeah, good morning, how you doing? He's like, what you doing? I'm good. You know, small talk. And then he was like, so what are you up to today? And as she was typing, as she was responding, dick pic. And then he deleted it fast. And she was like, but why? Right? Why? I told you not to send that. But my point is if you have a boyfriend and this is the 4th, 5th, 6th time that the man sending you a dick pic and you don't block and delete this man and he ain't getting the message, then I don't know. They might get emailed the dick pic if you can't get through WhatsApp.
He very well might. Some people are persistent like that.
Well, you need to call it. Well, if he does that, you need to call police.
Yeah. Karen has entered the chat. She says she's done the revenge horn. Two can play the game and they can play it better. But who you really hurt him when you do that, Karen? That's just my feel free to let me know. Q was saying them chats done smell that and deleted deal. Looked at and or endorsed and deleted.
But then you're cheating though.
Yeah. Well, but he's saying that that's what the women, the chat will come through, the women will look at it and delete. Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. We are all human beings. We all have an ego of some sort, some kind. And everybody likes to know, yeah, I still got it going on. So if there's somebody that is kind of like stroking your ego, giving you that little bit of validation and you could get it going on, you'd be like, you keep it a little closer. You keep it close. Even if you don't, you may not want to block and delete for whatever reason, but you would keep it close because you say, yeah, this body make me feel a little, I see this picture and I'm still doing it for somebody.
Hold on. Or you might keep it just in case. The man start to act up, the man ain't acting right. The woman say, oh, you don't want to see me tonight? No problem. No problem. Yeah, buddy. See that penis pics you keep sending me that you don't want to say? I want to see it in real life.
Well,
wait. I see Karen here. I was trying to do something in the background. Karen is saying about revenge horn. She revenge horn somebody, and she's saying I think she was 20. And as I said, I can play that game better. But why is it a game? Why? I just, why are you competing? So if a man cheat on you, why do you feel the need to cheat back? Just down with the man. The man ain't a good lefty. I know. I know.
But again, Neil, that comes back to the ego. Right?
But.
Because I don't think it's a case of men making it a game, Karen. There's just certain things that men do.
We don't make it a game. As we spoke on the weekend, and I really gotta say that our community is really interesting. Having conversations with men that you've never spoken to before. All of us are saying the same things when it comes to women and feeling certain things within the relationship. Anyhow, that's another discussion for another time. But really and truly, men don't make it a game. Men are simple and straightforward. Most men want peace of mind and sex. If you ain't providing peace of mind, the man ain't coming home. If the man ain't coming home, you can find solace elsewhere. If you're not providing sex, that's self-explanatory. If every time the man come home, you're nagging about garbage, you're nagging about bills, and you're nagging about this, and you're nagging about that, even though the man is showing you his leadership style and showing you that he's providing certain emotional security for you, and he's providing certain things for you, but you still find a way to emasculate this man and to show and match his energy and say, you know what, I don't understand what my mother tell me get married to you and this night next. But shoot, what the man gonna do? The man ain't making it a game. The man just ain't competing. The man ain't dealing with that. The man ain't.
I want to send you something to
put up.
Like I say, you're here, no, Neil. You can probably rest it on screen.
Okay.
Because the revenge horn thing, actually, I think that was like the first point they found on why people cheat. They were hurt, they was vexed, so they went out and they did something like that, right?
Right.
And it is, I get it, I understand, because your ego does not want to take the.
I know, see the picture.
Because it feels like a loss, right?
Yeah.
It feels like a loss in that you take the L. Nobody wants to take the L.
Right. So let me get this on.
You can get it. So you can rest that on screen.
All right, just give me a second.
Ladies in particular, right? Ladies, the revenge horn is a game you're not going to win. Let me just let you know that up front.
Nobody wins. I mean, one horn is bad enough. You lose that already. You've lost something already. So 2 rounds don't make a right. Simple. I can rest it on screen now, Derek.
Yeah, man. That's
right.
I'm sick of gander.
That's the wrong thing. Sorry about that. Here we go.
A man.
Put that in you.
Wait. No. Then none of the explicit material.
Right. Just So be clear on
Right.
that.
So,
So yeah,
right. So,
you're really not hurting anybody when you decide that you want to engage in a tit for tat thing. And ladies, I am not saying this because, yeah, you want to be real clear on the stuff that you say, right? I am not saying this to you ladies to kind of keep you in subjugation, or it's because I know we're all about sexual liberation and all that stuff. I get it. And to borrow a line from a lady from a couple of weeks ago who said that women have agency over their own parts. So I would never strive or suggest that a woman should not have agency over her parts and be free to do with them as she so pleases. I would never suggest that.
right.
But having said all that, you have more at stake, ladies, right? We had a very interesting situation develop over the past 2 days with some artists putting out some music and stuff like that. Then we had to get a couple of artists issuing apologies and stuff. And these are more established artists. It was a mix of more established artists and some unknown artists. One of them seems to have lost his a contract with some sponsorship and stuff like that, and another one had to issue a very swift apology for this stuff, right? And I made the point. This is why a pig should never go into business with a chicken making ham and eggs.
Yo, I want to say, right? Your analogies are spot on. People just be messaging me and say, yo, I love Derek's analogies, and Derek's analogies be tip top. So,
okay? Just saying, a pig is never going to win when it comes, because some people ain't got there to lose,
fact.
right? Some people ain't got there to lose, and you should never go into something with somebody who has nothing to lose, because they ain't got there to lose. So, ladies, when you decide that you're going to play a game of one-upsmanship with a man, I don't see how you're going to win that, because you open up yourself to, potential. Well, first of all, you can in notch count. Those of you who believe in that body count matters, you cannot yours for somebody that ain't really care.
Well, it depends, because you might circle back to a number before.
True.
I see Karen saying, right, so she's a whore, but he isn't. Nobody is saying that the man in a whore. Like, it's not a competition. Again, we're not getting into terms and whatever. Whatever you think she is, he probably is too. But yeah. But at the end of the day, heal first, leave the relationship. Don't revenge horn. Like, that's silly.
Right? You could potentially end up with a child. A man doesn't have that. Because shoot, they say mama's babies, papa's maybes. A man can shoot. It wasn't me. I rolled. And there's nothing on him to suggest that's his child. He can just say, shoot. Not me. And he done with that. So
Well,
okay.
but
Hold tight. Beyond the saying wow at the pick. Cross has an expression that I can't really figure out what it's saying. So if you have nothing to lose, ask Dion, then why then try to kill she and yourself?
Hold on, let me tackle that.
Who says that the man is doing that?
That's what I'm saying. You see, this is a very varied topic. The man that can kill the woman and kill himself, any man got nothing to lose. You understand? Like, the man, he obviously is invested.
Yeah.
And he is lying to himself if he says he's not invested.
I really, let's again get out of this mindset that every man who is with a woman, if she goes or horns him, that man is going to say, you know what, done with this here.
Again, I kill me, I kill she, everything is today.
Yeah. Nah. That is most definitely not the case, right?
I would say that's anecdotal, to be honest.
Yeah, cross, the body count only matters for her. Who cares if her body count goes up?
Well, we talked about this. I don't think Tanisha was joining us around that time, but we did talk about this in a previous podcast where we talked about body count. So,
ladies, I know we get sexual liberation, sexual revolution.
It's 2021, Derek. 2021.
I get it. You got the what is call it? You got the advent of the pill and all that stuff, and you are free to have agency over your parts and share them with whomever you desire. I get it, but guess what? Men still look at certain things, right? And men are still, if you're known to the streets, men ain't about it.
Yep.
Let me say here, I know it is a double standard.
But hold on a minute. I wouldn't even go
I
that
appreciate that it is a double standard. But that is what it is. If you're known to the streets, men ain't about it.
But not only that too, I would even venture to say a woman that is wife material, so if we're talking about wife material, right? And a woman goes and asks her friends, yo, anybody know, Paul? Anybody know Paul? Paul Burkett. Oh yeah, I know Paul, boy. Paul had 6, 8, 22. I see me man every week. Man got another woman. Man sleep with over 100 women. You don't want none of that action. Likewise, if a man is husband material and looking for a wife, he's gonna ask questions, and if those questions come back and he don't like those numbers, it's very subjective. If the man come back and he hear that, as you say, known to streets, because we get into this thing. Yes, Derek says it's a double standard, but any person that is looking for a partner and believes and confident within themselves that they're ready for that partner to be whatever that partner needs. I mean, you getting into if the man for the streets, if the woman for the streets, you're for the streets. Don't matter if it is a man or a woman. Shoot, they got some women out there that if you deal with 20 women, that's a deal breaker. Likewise, a man might have a deal breaker if she deal with 5 men, but that is subjective. And that may mean something to some people, and that may not mean anything to anybody. But in the end, you still got to respect it. You still have to respect that. If you're checking somebody and the person tell you, yeah, you sleep with too many people, I don't think you're worthy of, like a woman would say, you are not worthy of leading me or me being in a committed relationship and me taking certain energies and receiving certain energies from you.
Man, you sound real fancy, Neil. Women tell you straight, listen, I hear about you, and I really want to do with you.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yep.
Simple. Yeah. Karen is saying he might not kill you, but they're free flowing tears. So Karen, my dear.
What she say, what happened? I ain't hear that.
That he might not kill you, but they're free flowing tears. So
a man can't cry? And what you smirking?
No. But here's the thing, Neil. A man, we're not saying that a man can't cry. But don't assume that he will.
Shoot.
Don't assume that he will.
Shoot. And even if he does, who's to say he used to know?
And let me muster up, because this one might sting a little bit, right?
Man.
This one might sting a little bit. Who says that he cares about you enough for the tears to flow if you went and do something?
I think she's talking about personal experience though, because that's smart. Like she probably did that to the man, and the man cried a yarn.
Yeah, well. So let me get back here. We got Dion. Dion saying, see this conversation. We just talked about the fact that there are more women than men, so people doubling up. But yet, body count gonna matter.
Yes, it's gonna matter.
Does.
It is going to matter because
the thing,
yeah, go ahead.
There are more women than men, so there will be a reason for men to double up. Why do women doubling up? Just speaking, be devil's advocate here. Why do women gonna double up? Sorry. Why women gotta be going out with 3 or 4 people?
And if they are willing to double up because of lack of good men or whatever, why not consider polyamory? Polygamy. If they got such few good men out there, if certain men are not worthy of something and there's so many of y'all, why not consider being in a relationship with other women and you might got other women?
Cross is asking, how is body count still a major subject when courting someone? Guys,
it's important to who it's important to. That's all I can say. There's some women that have a problem with a high body count for men, and there are men that have a high body. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah. Well, Lord, so much to unpack here.
Mm.
How is body count still a major subject? It is. It is. There's a reason why.
I enjoy seeing your face as you read the comments because I kind of seen them before you, but I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Right. They do matter, right? And they matter because that is how men process. I know that the world has changed and women have changed, or so they think.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so they think. But at our core, we operate a certain way as men and women. We operate differently. There are certain things that matter to women that don't matter to men. There are certain things that matter to men that don't matter to women. Right? Men are concerned with that. Karen raises the point. Imagine studying a body count over a clean STA record. And here's the thing, Karen. The two are connected. So that's why a man, okay, I went to an event one time, right? Little line. And at this little line, they had a woman that was there. And I remember I was playing some partners, some dominoes with a partner of mine. And he and I, we look up at each other. We always met four. We look at it, the man to our left. And then, because at that time we used to communicate on that kind of level that you didn't really have to talk.
Mm-hmm.
So I met four. I saw him look to the person on my left. Then he looked over at somebody else and another guy there. And then we realized, you know what? Of the four people at the domino table, there was a lady there present. I was the only person at the table that had not slept with her.
Wow.
Right? Then there were three. She was there with her husband, and there were her ex-husband was there, and somebody else at the line. So 6 people at this place she had slept with, right? And this line may had 25 people at it.
But how common is that, right? Though, Derek? How many times? Shoot.
Without putting myself on blast, I've been around the block, and it hasn't really happened to me like that. It hasn't really happened to me. Right? And again, that's, well, it's been around the block. So you really don't want to be, we know that BIM's small, and because BIM is, you have to be more, okay, let me put it this way. Do you want your daughters to be that girl who is known to the streets? Also, conversely, do you want your son to bring home a girl who is known to the streets? I get it. I completely understand that the standards are different for men and women.
There's a double standard. I mean,
there's a double standard, point blank. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But trying to pretend that it does not exist and trying to pretend that because this is how it should be is what it is, we ain't doing ourselves the favors with that.
I agree with Dion here. Dion is saying known to the streets and having multiple partners is different. I actually was just thinking that too, because I have been to events, parties, lanes or whatever, and you see a group of friends and you're like, oh dear, but I would not say that I am known to the streets. I would say that
maybe you are.
I know to a cul-de-sac maybe, or to a little avenue, a gap. But in all honesty, there is a difference between somebody that, like, we know some women out there where if you used to roll in a group of 5 men slept with her back in the day, and she did that knowing full well that all of y'all are friends. Shoot, matter of fact, she may have even encouraged that or whatever. But there are situations where you go to a line. I've been to a line before, and you're like, yo, I really have slept with a few of these women in here. But it's not like everybody. That's the thing too. It's not like the women gotta be side-eye and looking at one another and say, wait, wait, wait. But I have been in situations where you could see the men around the room like, so, oh, okay, so everybody would have partaken in the flesh. So, yeah, I do agree with Dion on that though. Known to the streets does not necessarily mean, I mean, as Karen said, but BIM small and, you know, we, especially us, we roll in certain circles and, you know, like-minded individuals and that like certain partying and laymen and whatever. And you can eventually go into a group and I mean, you know how many times you went and lame at somebody that you ain't, you say, okay, I don't know anybody at this lane. And then you go and you see somebody walking and say, oh, I didn't know you that you knew her. So yeah, BIM small, but at the end of the day, still, when you're known to the streets, I think everybody should know when known to the streets. Known to the streets is when you do not care.
Come on now.
When a woman...
Let me try to oversimplify what we're really talking about.
Right.
Let's not do that. Right? Yeah, don't trade it back and dodge it. At the end of the day, a man wants a woman that he can say, well, yeah. Ooh, I was nearly a little bit cross there, so let me dial out back a little bit. But he still wants to know that there's something special about his woman, right? And that
the thing that might be special is that the poom poom special.
Anything wrong with that? But he certainly don't want to know that, you know, a whole multitude of people.
But that's why it's special.
Know how special she is.
But that's special. A lot of people got iPhone, not because it is special, but a lot of people have recommended it.
Well, I'll put it to you this way: if you look at yourself as the queen and the praise that you are,
dear,
conduct yourself accordingly.
But there is 2021. A boss bitch and a queen shouldn't have agency over her parts. So who are you to define me by my number? Who are you to define me? Who are you to define me by the amount of people I decide to sleep with? If I sleep with one man or 1,000 men, the point is it doesn't diminish my value as a queen. And as a wife and as a boss bitch.
Very true.
We've seen the memes.
You're right. Very true. That's my bad. That's me looking at it from a sexist.
A
misogynistic, patriarchal kind of.
Or better yet,
overview.
You are looking at it from a man that knows what a real queen is. Do you know? Hold on. Somebody brought this analogy to me, right?
Everybody don't sleep with the queen. That's all they're saying.
Watch it. Somebody brought this analogy to me one time, and it was mind-blowing. In chess, you have a king. King is the most important piece on the board. If he falls, the game is over. You have lost. The king is limited in his movement. The queen, who is, by all accounts, the second most important entity within chess, she can move wherever she pleases. She can do as she likes. But she does that in service to the king, and she does that in protection of the king. You see what I'm trying to say here? You see what I say? The queen ain't going to sleep with the pawns. The queen ain't going over to the other side and saying, well, I's black queen, but come whitey, come and let me get at the king. The king, this gonna make the king feel a sorry way and he gonna fall over. No. See, that's chess. Now, some may argue that was created by a man. That is part of the patriarchal system. That is the problem. That is a very old game, and thought process when that game was designed is very archaic. But I still think that when you look at the royalty, I like to say that I'm a king, right? And I actually recently, within the last 6 months for the year, I have questioned what that means to be a king because I have failed in certain aspects as a king. And I think that while I have the mentality of the king, certain things around me that I reflect are not that of the consistency of in keeping with the king. And I'm working on that. But there's some people out there, there's some women out there that don't see that they don't have that introspection, right? As far as they're concerned, I am a queen. I deserve the best of the best of the best of the best. And I'm not lowering my standard for anybody. And, don't apply if you're not the king that you want, which is funny because when they get the king that they want, they don't want to submit to that king. And here we go about the chess. Because your role as the queen is to protect the king at all costs. And what's the role of the king? to maintain his stance as a king, to make sure that, if you want to look at it as a game, it's still in place. So the man still has to be a level of faithful. And if we go into the context of monogamy, very monogamous. If we go into polygamy, he has to be transparent and honest with all that he is engaging.
But that's interesting, Neil, because we're saying here, because you talk about the king being monogamous and all that, right? And they're saying that Beyond is saying holding women to some virtuous moral standard that you don't hold yourself to is nonsense. But we just talked about the man, operating within those parameters, right? If we go back, right? Let me use I love the Jay-Z and Beyonce comparison.
Mm-hmm.
How many people we know Beyonce had?
I know she had a guy. I actually found it funny because they were saying that this guy had to be kicking himself because I think he dumped Beyonce or something so back in the day before she was famous.
Okay.
I remember that one guy.
That's one. Uh-huh.
I'm sure she would have had some dalliances here and there. I mean, but they weren't public. So even if she did sleep with 10, 15, 20, 100 men.
But this is what I'm going to say.
The more people you sleep with, the secret can I keep, just to say.
Cross is saying being sarcastic with the Queen talk, but the truth is, acknowledging that there is a double standard means nothing if we keep perpetuating it.
So
yes.
So here.
Tight deal because you tip your hand.
Yeah.
Don't tip your hand.
All right, my bad.
Right? We are going to address all these double standards at a later date, right?
My bad. I almost got out. I almost.
Yeah, I know. It's all you. It's all you itching. Cross, and I'm speaking as someone who does see the man as a king and a woman as a queen, and believe both should bring value to the table.
Agreed. Completely agree.
So you prefer if the body count is high in secret? Yes.
This is the thing, right?
Prefer if it was not high at all, but if it high, we don't need to know.
But here's the joke about this thing, right? You know what's so funny about this? The funny thing about it is people are fixating on the body count, right? But I know for a fact back in the day when you would hear, shoot, even now, you hear a woman got enough men, I hear you see Paulette sleep with this body and that body and this body. I hear she spook out and this and that next.
We are trying to,
and that's women talking about other women.
Okay, then. We are trying to pretend, right? We are trying
that is only men perpetuating it, and it is our society.
Yeah. We are trying to pretend like if this is some new thing.
And that it is exclusive to men.
We are trying to pretend as if this is something we want for ourselves.
Because somebody's talking about perpetuating it, right? But my question to you is, how do you stop you're asking to change the construct within this society. There's so many different things, so many different constructs. It even goes back to what we were talking about the music, right? People are fixating on the artists and why they would release this music at this time and this time next. But really and truly, why are you getting onto the artists? We've all, everybody, I don't know who know, right? But I love war tune dancehall. I love the Bounty Killer, Mad Cobra. I think Mad Cobra is the top 3 greatest artists of all time, and here number 3. I like the Munga. I love Munga. I love war tune dancehall. I ain't getting out there and kill nobody. I ain't getting out there and raise my gun. Shoot, I don't even own a gun. So to me, the point I'm trying to make is that how do you change this society? How do you change the society? If you change the perpetuation of certain stereotypes, of certain double standards and anything like that, you can what? What are you going to do? We have to do it piece by piece. It probably will not happen in our generation or our children's generation or their children's generation. But conversations like this, acknowledging that there is a double standard, decreeing it whenever it comes up and people talk about it and people try to make it, that's all we could do. But we can't get on our idealistic utopian energy and say, well, men perpetuate this and the double standard is real and we need to stop it. I don't understand why. But shoot, talk to women, because women do it too. Everybody does it. Everybody perpetuates the cycle. Everybody perpetuates racism within their subsection of race. People always talking about colorism. When red women was getting it hot about 4 or 5 years ago, and that was a big black thing. That was a big move for the black people, right? Black people get on why they hear like this. Shane Jones went on the news. He hear picky, and everybody cry. Well, why? Well, how he get anything like that? But that's our natural hair, though. So you know what? There are a lot of standards, double standards, and things that happen within this society that it is fine to say that they shouldn't be perpetuated. But what are you individually doing to stop it? We are here on this platform to tell you that there's a double standard and to tell you why it is a double standard and how to change it, why it doesn't matter, why it matters, and how to shift your thinking. That's what we are trying to do to start the conversation. The question is, what are you doing to stop the perpetuation of these things?
But I wonder why we feel the need to fight certain things that shoot. Because again, people just feel like bullshitting. So again, I can turn it over to the chat as always. Right? How many men in the chat? Men in the chat. If you want a woman that has been around the block a couple of times, or would you prefer, somebody that, is a little bit more special to you? Let me call it that way.
You know what I find? You know what just crossed my mind, Derek? We had an episode a few months ago, talking about dating your friend's ex, right? And what was the pervasive thought, particularly among the women? We ain't dating with ex. We seeing the excuses of men. Sorry, that we live in a small society and men thing and women double up. If Dion,
let us not be disingenuous and try to say certain things that we know we do not want for ourselves.
Fact. You ain't dating your friends. You're not dating your friend's ex-man. So then how, if he was a good man, that's one good man off your list. Good. So that means the pool is smaller. So then now you see another man that good, but he sleep with 57 women in the last 3 years. Is he a good man though? That's even a better question. If body count don't matter, right? And it doesn't take away from a man's value or a woman's value, right? If a man slept with 57 women in the last 2 years, why does it matter? He provides. He's a good man. By all intents and purposes, yeah, he might do his dalliance here and there. But you don't want a man that does dalliance here and there. You want a man that is consistent. You want a man that is secure and brings stability. And a man that has multiple partners, if a person is 26 and had 40 partners, we heard my man Ramel. Ramel said a woman wasn't 30 and slept with over 60 people. What stability she got in her life where she slept with 60 people? And we men look at that. Controversially, if a man was 26, the same age, 29, and he slept with 60 women in 29 years, and he didn't fool in that thing. What stability he brings? Do you want a man that is...
Because we talked about pair bonding and all that stuff.
Right.
And we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. The more partners you have, it lowers your ability to pair bond. So try it. If you want to do it, and just, again, do with your parts what you wish. Try it. See how it works out for you. Right? But there's some science to the thing.
I know we see here.
Don't shoot the messenger. Hold tight, because they're coming in the chat. Karen says, we don't want a woman who's been around the block, but wants you to be the head top queen. Who says we do? Right? Who says we do? Who says that a man wants a woman who knows all these special tricks? Who says that a man would not prefer to show a woman what he likes?
Derek, this brings me to something that I learned earlier this year. Do y'all know where husband is derived from? The word husband? The word husband is derived from a word called husbandry. Do you know what husbandry is? Husbandry is essentially the rearing of crops, a person that rears crops, right? Essentially encourages and fosters the raising of crops. And the thinking is, of course, that husbandry, the word husband, is where your wife has to, you have to show your wife, your spouse, how to love you as a man. See, a woman is capable of love of any man. And it is a special, unique kind of love. And the woman is special because she can procreate at will and nurture and perpetuate our species. We men, because yes, we can have sex longer, but a woman is special, right? Now, a man has to show a woman how to love him. And controversially, a woman has to do that as well. So to say that a woman gone out there and she had to learn from the streets how to be a freak in the bed, and that a man want that,
I don't care. I really don't care.
I mean, I just want you. I want you to have some experience, but I ain't looking you to be a OnlyFans porn star. Like, I ain't looking for that. I just want you to be competent.
So, and that's another,
or at least open.
I see we got some responses on it. People seem to have a good laugh at it. Here, let me share. Please get this misconception out of your head. Please, men don't care what you learn on some other dude.
Yeah, Tanisha, I made a mistake in what I said about women can procreate at will. That was my fault. The point I was trying to say is that a woman is special in her ability to procreate and, nurture and have sex.
So cool. Don't believe that because you went and learn some special skills on somebody and you bring it to me, that increases your value.
Colin, I would be wondering. I wonder where you learn it from, and how many men you had to get through the learning.
There you go.
And shoot, right? And what I'm saying, do you consider yourself a master class? As far as you concerned, you may still be a novice, and you got some more learning to do.
Let me go to this comment that Ray makes. Ray says the count doesn't count to me. The character of the person matters, however. Got enough good girls with bad decision-making skills in BIM.
Oh, facts.
Here's the challenge with that comment, Ray.
Facts.
Here's the challenge with that. Can you be a good girl if you're making bad decisions?
I think so. No. I can't agree there. I can't agree. It depends on the decisions you're making. So,
but you cannot be constantly making bad decisions.
Constantly. That's the operative word. That's the operative word.
Whomsoever will may come.
I ain't learning from your mistakes, because watch, if you make a bad decision, and you ain't learning from the bad decision, as you say, consistently making those bad decisions, how good are you really?
Yeah. So why should
because there's no stability.
Man then look and say, this is the girl I want. This is the girl I want. A girl who has shown that good decision making is not her forte.
There, boy. Right? If you look in the chat, you can see Sam.
Yeah, I see it.
You see it?
I see it.
Yeah, call that. That's what the I in sign language.
And a little bit of S as well, the shaming.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Y'all just sit down and think so for real. Yes.
And what? Forgive me.
Here's the thing.
But why is it childish? Right? I want to understand why is it childish. Just forgive me. Treat me like a 5-year-old. Why is it childish?
Karen will have to explain why it's childish to her.
Right.
But this is my thing. This is how men think. These are the things men think about. Sorry, these are the things about which men think.
And Keitha,
to make sure that my English is right.
And Keitha is saying, so it couldn't come naturally. Keitha, we are not talking about all women. Again, some people, I literally had a woman that was proficient sexually and she had not had a sexual partner before, and it kind of impressed me. I'm not talking about all women. We are not talking about all women. Everybody is different. It's a case-by-case thing. There are some things that are case-by-case, and there are some things you can treat as a group because it is their nature and it is their behavior.
Here's the thing with this, right? So skill couldn't come naturally. Skill had to come from dealings with enough men. No, it couldn't. It doesn't necessarily have to be enough men. Or it could be one person who showed you a whole range of things. We are talking here about the person who has picked up something from here and something from there and something from there and something from there and something from there and brought that and thinking that makes you what? A head top queen. That's what we're talking about, right? And here's the thing. I know when y'all don't want to acknowledge.
They don't. They really don't.
Or recognize what it is I'm telling you.
Because that's going to lead to accountability for their gender. You got to play that closer to the mic.
Sorry, my bad. Naked's asking, isn't that what men like the head top queen? But this is the thing. A man would rather be able to say, I taught you X or Y, and you be unique to him, as opposed to you turning out and saying, well, yeah, Izzy, the head top queen.
Mm-hmm. But hold on a minute there. Before you read that, continue your point, and I want to make a point, because I got the perfect analogy and example for this.
Izzy head top queen. This is what I've learned on my travels. Let me talk. We are adult. Sex is a natural part of life.
I didn't want you to read that comment yet. I wanted to talk. Sorry. Yeah. A perfect example, ladies and gentlemen, is that Derek and I have a different schools of thought here when it comes to sex. Now, I don't plan to teach a woman a damn thing in bed. The most I am going to teach her is what I like and what I dislike. But I ain't teaching you how to do fellatio. I ain't teaching you how to, do the reverse cowgirl. I ain't teaching you nothing. So I teach you what I like. If you take that to learn what I like, then fine. Right? Derek now is of the belief that, he doesn't want a woman that, is a head top queen. But we are different men. And the truth of the matter is that for me, the count don't really matter that much. I mean, the only time it matters is if I hear like you're 28 and I slept with over 60 men. Like that shows me a lack of stability in your life. That ain't got nothing to do with, literally it just means a lack of stability. And I believe that that's what most men go. Go on to Karen and her comment, because I'm really interested.
Yeah, she says we are adults. Sex is a natural part of life. More to that, most people here are 30 plus years of age. You're studying how she or he got low skills, and thinking about body counts is just juvenile. Here's the thing.
Oh dear.
Let me go to Dion's comment. I don't agree. I've never asked him about his count. If you're some person who has commitment issues and jumps from pillar to post, you will have other personality traits that show this behavior.
Oh, but knowing that somebody slept with a lot of partners in a very short period of time would help you get ahead of the curve really quickly, and probably save you a lot of time and effort. I'm just saying.
That's a hard hit.
I'm just saying. And to Karen's point, I would say this. The purpose of sex is to procreate. Men can procreate well into their life. Women cannot. And there's a particular reason for that. I'm sure, people that know would know. And I think it, comes down to that there are less men than women. Meaning that if we had to repopulate the earth, what would you do? Would you have more men than women, or would you have more women than men? So that's the purpose of sex. The purpose of sex is to procreate. The body count matters, as I said, for stability. I don't think it is juvenile, because at the end of the day, I ain't like I saying you slept with 5 people and you upset. Sorry, you slept with 5 people and I am upset, and I ain't want to deal with whatever. But opposite to that, I literally want to know who I get involved with. And likewise, you should do your due diligence and find out who you're getting involved with. And I think it is juvenile to not do your due diligence and see who you're dealing with. You may not ask that person how many people they slept with, but we live in bin. And we ask in group chats, we just do research, we just do all sorts of things to find out what the people about. It is juvenile to get into someone, particularly when it comes to finding out if they're a stable individual and a committed individual, and not find out about their body count. Because at the end of the day, you get with a man, you thinking everything going well. You with this man 5-6 years, and you realize all of a sudden, this man has flaked out, this man has become distant. You may even find out that he's cheated. You know that I had a woman one time, right? And we dated for a while. I didn't ask her body count. I asked her certain questions, but like body count don't matter. And then when we broke up and she flaked on me, stopped responding to me or anything like that, and I quite literally did nothing wrong. Everybody then come forward and say, oh, that was your girlfriend? I meant to tell you, did you know she left a man at the altar? Did you know that she left this man this? Did you know that she don't do this with her child's father? Did you know X? Did you know Y? And I had no indication of that because up until that point, we used to spend a lot of time together. We used to communicate a lot. We were loving and devoted to each other. And then one day, well, it wasn't one day, but over the course of, because I was sick, I had a stomach flu. And over the course of 3 weeks, I heard less and less of her. And then I called her one day, asked her what's the deal. And she said, yeah, I'm busy with school. I said, all right, cool, no problem. You're busy with school. My mother, it was my birthday. My mother said, you know what? Neil is having a birthday. His birthday is coming up. Let's do dinner. And she said, no, she can't make it. She's not going to come. And she took that time to message me and tell me that she thinks it's time we break up. Then all of my friends, all of the people that would have seen us together, all the people that knew her and knew of her history, Stan came to tell me she's a flake. She's not a stable individual in relationships. She not necessarily jumps from man to man, but from relationship to relationship. She's a free spirit. She left a man at the altar. She doesn't engage her child's father, even though the child's father was very committed to her. She has been proposed to multiple amount of times and she has disappeared. So, and I was devastated after that relationship. My mother could tell you, devastated for months after that. Went to a very dark place. Now, if I had asked her how many people she had slept with before, right? I think that would have given me a better indication of what type of individual, because even if she slept with 5 people, and I asked her how many serious relationships she had, and I really asked her about her dating history, I think that would have given me a clue as to if this person is a stable individual or not. Now, I'm not saying it's a holistic way, but it's a good indicator. So, miss me when y'all say that body count don't matter. Because as much as y'all think it comes to do with sex wholly and solely, and it has to do with if this person is a whore or if she's a this and that and the next, it literally tells me if you are a stable individual or not. Are you a person that when the goings get stuff, I can rely on you? Because if you sleep with a lot of people in a short amount of time, if you are 30 and have slept with 60 people, you have not dated 60 people in your life. You have not had a serious relationship with 60 people in your life. And I want to know why you found it possible to sleep with 60 people. Because if I get involved with you and you're supposed to be the mother of my child and they're looking to marry you and think, I want to know what's the problem. So, I'm sorry, but do your due diligence. Do your research. When you're hiring a contractor, you want to know how your work is, right?
I'll tell you this, Neil. With regard to I'll tell you why it matters, right? Because people think it doesn't matter. So, I'll tell you why it matters. It matters in terms of the ability to pair bond, which is kind of what you were getting at. So, but because Cross is saying, if you did not know some facts about her past, man, etc., that is a communication issue, right? So I don't want to touch it from that point, from that exactly. I want to look at it from the point of view that whether she told you this stuff or not, the body count impacts that ability to pair bond. And hence, the leaving a man at the altar and stuff like that is a result of the flaky behavior, is a result of. So whether you know the exact number or not, I'm saying it matters because it impacts these things, that pair bonding, that ability to match with a partner. That is what it impacts. So to believe or to insist that it's juvenile. So let me see what else we got.
So wait,
here.
people saying that I take in what she said as true, how you could believe the number. So what am I supposed to do? What are we supposed to do when somebody tells you something? Like, yo, I can get hype. But let us not throw in the you can believe the number she tell you. So what? So I supposed to believe when she says she love me? Like, what we doing? What we really doing here? Yo, nah, don't let us do that. Let us. I see Nika saying, no, sorry, yeah, right. Nika saying, Neil, suppose she told you she only had 2 relationships, meaning that she only had 2 people. Look, if somebody has sex with 20 people, and if the person was like, let's say 26, 27, has sex with 20 people, 15 people, 10 people, right? Did she have 10 committed relationships? Let's say she did have 10 committed relationships. Then why in that period of time that they didn't work out? If she only had 2 people and it still didn't work out, then that is what it is. But what I'm saying is that you need every advantage you can to save yourself heartache and pain. You're all here talking about the body count doesn't matter, right? I guarantee you, if you met a man and you were interested in that man and you found out that man slept with 100 women at 40, it can make you look at that man a little side eye.
Process saying knew that woman just was up for you because she wasn't honest about important stuff. Forget the number. And yes, I want us to forget the number because I want us to look at the impact it has.
Exactly. Y'all getting caught up with the number, but it is the impact
it has.
It's not like sorry.
The higher that number goes, the more it impacts your ability to appear born. And this is for men and women.
Exactly. And like, so we don't got a number right now, you know.
It is an the higher the number of the body count, the higher the body count, it is directly correlated to your ability to appear with somebody, right? So all this free love and this is Woodstock and all that, the two are connected, they are correlated, and if to suggest that they are not is foolhardy.
It's childish, quite frankly. Now, I still maintain, if you think I'm an attractive man, you may see certain qualities in me. I talk to women, obviously. You may see certain qualities and say, you know, he seems to be a man that, you know, he seems to know what he's about and he seems like a good man and everything like that. And you want to date me. Come to find out I'm 41. I slept with over 80 women. But I'm a good man and my number doesn't matter. And I'm not saying that you directly ask me. Let's say through the grapevine, you do your due diligence and say, yeah, this is my boyfriend. It could be something as simple as you carry me to a line and one of your girlfriends see the man and say, that is who you dating? Let me tell you, girl, I slept with over 80 women. It's just a number, right? It has no impact, right? Numbers don't matter, right? My body count don't matter, right? So let's get married then. Let's have children. I have no STDs. That's what's important, right? Let's go.
So the cross is saying this is only because you attach so much value to sexual virtue. It's crap. What matters is character, how you handle serious relationships, what your goals are, how you handle hardships in the past. Absolutely not related to the number of people someone has slept with. Come now. I'm going to read that again because I find that particularly interesting. This is only because you attach so much value to sexual virtue. It's crap. What matters is character, how you handle serious relationships, what your goals are, how you handled hardships in the past. I fail to see how that is not connected to your sexual responsibility. Mm-hmm. The two are connected.
They are connected because I see Dion asking, so in your scenario, you have changed. Can you change? How far removed from the number do you have to be for it to, it's subjective. But the point remains, you see the questions you are asking, have I changed? Can I change? What has changed? There is an impetus to that. The catalyst is finding out my body count.
Okay, I'll ask the ladies. Let me ask the ladies, right? And I love to approach it from this perspective. If your daughter comes home with a guy that everybody knows, shoot, look at some people don't want to deal with cricketers because they know cricketers get down. They don't want to deal with policemen because they know others get down, right? So, your daughter brings home a fella that is known. Your daughter walking in door, Tino Best, that say he has slept with over 600 women. What we doing? We cool with that because Tino Best got a little money, so.
And he has changed because now he wants to be committed and settle down.
Yeah, I think.
He has no STDs, so.
Are you good with that? Are you cool with that, ladies? Just let me know if you got some wants, if you're cool with that.
Because you can be doing your due diligence. And the point is that I understand what you're saying, Tanisha. I understand you see it. You say you fail to see it because the number of people someone has slept with is important to you. All right. It is not okay. There's not a hardcore number that may have, It's not like a man to say, well, shoot, if you sleep with 10 women, if you sleep with 10 men, sorry, in your lifetime, you're null and void to me. There are some men that think like that, but I can assure you that certain men that really are discerning and are looking for someone as wife material, they're not necessarily holding on to a number, but one leads to questions. If you slept with, shoot, men just answer this question. If a woman had 2 partners.
Stick opinion. Cross is saying, I want my daughter to be free to explore. I want my daughter, because my kids, because one on the way, to be free to explore their sexuality safely and without shame. That's not the question they asked for us. Don't try to dipsy doodle me.
Don't dipsy
if your daughter brought home Tino Best, who has said point blank he has had 600 women, would you be okay with it?
Well, I guess she's answering that, Derek, because
I want a yes.
All right, I can let her speak for herself. No. I can let her speak.
Don't because she Cross said that we were speaking for ladies. I don't want us to do that. I want the ladies to speak for themselves.
No, Dion, you're saying I would expect her to do her due diligence. I am not gonna automatically say no.
Dion, I don't want you to dipsy doodle and bring a lot of pretty semantics and stuff to me as syntax. It's very well written, but I want a yes or no. Would you want your daughter to bring home a known philanderer?
I see Jay Corbs. Mama Corbs, thanks for joining us, man. Mama says, I am really glad that you're watching, brother. Honestly speaking, hope everything is well. You say stability and sexual history aren't synonymous. Nobody said that they were synonymous, but there's a correlation. Nobody said that they were synonymous. Nobody is saying that one directly equates to the other, but there is a correlation.
So yes, ladies.
Shout out Blair. What's up, Blair?
Yeah, shout out Blair. Good to see you again, buddy. Yes, you're Naka trying to be cute, saying that Tino will be too old. So let's say whoever is the Tino of the day, your daughter brings home the Tino of the day. It's a known person.
I can respect that.
Very well.
I can respect that, Cross. I can respect that. Protect yourself, protect your heart, protect your health. If she did with Tino Best and, she did not do certain things to ensure that she was not safe health-wise and emotionally, then, that is on her. But let us understand that it would be partly her fault and on her. But yeah, I have no problem with that. Yes, no issue, because the unknown philandering is worse. I think I think is the problem here, Derek, and I see now we're at near 2.5. So if we can cut off at 2, we could cut off at what? Where we 10:15. I think the problem here is again semantics, ladies and gentlemen. I think that what we are saying is getting lost in the shuffle in terms of holding on to certain terms and certain ideologies. Because at the end,
Stop. Go no further. Karen, I love you. My issue with Tino Best would be he's known to be a cheater, not his body count.
How is he known to be a cheater? How is he known to be a cheater? Did he cheat on 2 women?
Tanisha, she says, worst thing it can do is ban her or get angry to the point that she can't come to me if things go south.
Well, yeah. I mean, as a parent, you can. I mean, you gotta love them through thick and thin, unless they're doing something completely despicable. I mean, at the end of the day, you want to have that line of communication where you could tell them, I told you so. You don't tell them the I told you so. You be firm with them, but you still want to have that space to be able to, that they can feel comfortable to come to you should things go south.
Why would you assume that Tino is a cheater?
Right. Corbs is saying if the number matters, what's the threshold? And if I plus 1, then is that no a non-starter? Course, it depends on different people. No, again, we're dealing subjectively, right? Like for me,
Now we've already said, Neil, that the number, there's no fixed number.
right?
Some
Well,
people got two.
I don't know if
Some
Corbs
people
was
got
here.
2 horn threshold. Some people got 10 horn threshold.
Yeah.
It varies from person to person.
Yeah.
You might be comfortable with 5 people. I might be comfortable with a number of 25. It varies. Karen is going further to say that my boy had a high body count, but he was single for the duration of his whole phase. You can be a known cheater and have only slept with 3 people.
Well, yeah, that's true. You can sleep with 3 people, and again, though,
Then you can't be characterized as a cheater.
no, Derek, no. Hold on, we can't. To be fair, we can't go and say that these things are subjective in one breath, and then say that you can't be characterized because you can be categorized as a cheater, right? Cheat on one time, you could be known as a cheater. Same thing as rape. That's a poor analogy. I'm sorry for that. I apologize. Let me not do that. But the point is that we are very quickly labeled in the court of public opinion. And Tanisha, I don't know about body count threshold. I guess Corbs was trying to make an example. An analogy. Shoot. Right. To your point, though, if he slept with only 3 people, it is subjective.
But here's the thing.
It is subjective. It is subjective. It is subjective.
If you're in a relationship and you cheat with our body, on one body, that's 2. And one other person, 3. So I don't know.
And again, we are looking at this. You see, you're looking at. You said, but but you can be known as a cheater. We're not talking. See, it is not just about cheating. If a woman is 29 and has slept with 60 people, she may not have had a relationship in her life. Shoot, we watched a podcast last night, where a lady, she was saying, one of these red pill podcasts, Kevin Samuels, I can just be honest, transparent, shout out Kevin Samuels if you're listening. I hope you do. I hope you will. He was talking to a lady, and the lady called and asked why has she never had a serious relationship with it, which in itself was a puzzling question to Kevin. But he then went on to ask her about her dating history. She said she would have slept with between 5 and 10 men, but she's never had a serious relationship. She's never had an official relationship. Now, in my opinion, she may not be a bad girl. She may be a very good girl. But it does speak to something that she needs to address. Because if you are having relations with men, and I think she said one guy she was talking to for 2 years, but they never made it official. And I was like, if she had that body count in a very short time period, I think it was 5 years. The point is that it clues you in. It clues you into certain things that are happening with her, and then it clues you into, is this somebody? And I'm not saying it is the holistic way of doing your due diligence. You can do it by time, you can do it by energy and effort. The point is that for some people, man and woman, they will ask about body count because it kind of fast tracks you to understanding certain things that may be a red flag for you. So, I saw Corbs make a comment, because the reason why I am interested in Corbs' opinion on this is because I really do. He's one of my close friends, and I find his take on certain things very interesting. He is a person that is very intellectual, and he would come, and he's a man, obviously. I don't want to talk his business, but he's a man. He's a very successful man, and in the context of life, he is successful. So I just trying to gain his perspective on this. I want to read his comment. I don't know if you see it there. I can try to scroll all the way down, but he was saying, if the number matters, he says something else. I missed it. I lost it. Sorry, Corbs. I don't know. You want to read any other comment stanza or anything like that?
Carrie says she may have had an extended whole phase in her 20s. Single but decided on her cups. The fact that you call it a whole phase. Oh man.
I mean, But
Enjoy
no,
bringing the
but
substance,
to be fair, Derek, her face can speak to the mentality with which she approached the fish. For example, she could have had a whole phase with two men, meaning that she did not care for the men, did not care about their attitude, did not care what they brought to the table or whatever. She just wanted sex.
Okay. Who's trying to convince me or you?
No, I'm playing devil's advocate. I refuse to accept this course again. I refuse to accept this idea that my daughter decides to have sex with X plus one men. Society regards her as damaged goods. But again, course, there is a correlation. There is no X plus one men. Society regards her as damaged goods based on that number. To me, it may come over that because they don't know how to articulate the follow-up questions. But when you ask, for example, a woman sleeps with 10 men. She is 19. She slept with 10 men, right? You have to ask why. Why? Why has she slept with 10 men at the age of 19? Right? Because you're trying to understand what you are getting into. You're trying to understand who is the person you plan to commit to on a very serious level. It is not speaking to, this person is a whore and this person, this and that, and the next and the third. But you're trying to find out. And again, you can do that by asking pointed questions. And unfortunately, the same society that you said, they don't. If somebody asks me what trauma, who here has ever had a man or a woman ask them what traumas on the first, second, third day? What traumas are you trying to heal from? What are your insecurities? What are your feelings as a man/woman? Those questions are met with, you trying to ask me my business? That is unbelievably personal. Now, granted, asking somebody about their body count is also personal, but a person may freely accept and be open to say, well, okay, you asked me my body count, but sure, okay, I slept with 10 men, or I slept with 1,000 women. The point is that question is easily answered more so than the deep dive questions of your psyche and your personality and stuff like that. So then now, really and truly, we should be, and I said this in the episode when we talked about body count. The questions that we should be asking really are not what is your body count. The question should be, what trauma are you healing from? What are your issues with your family? What are the issues that you've had in your upbringing? How do you see yourself? How are you committed to yourself? How do you practice your self-love? But these questions, wait, let me finish my point there. These questions asked early out in a relationship will cause this person, because you're getting uber personal with a person. You're low peering into their soul. I am telling you, if you go out on the street now and you dating somebody, you say, okay, let's date. The first month you ask these person these sort of questions, they can be like, you know what, I ain't trying to date this man because this man want me to confront things that I'm not ready to confront. So what do we do as men and women? We ask about body count. We find out how many people to sleep with, because that clues us into what it is. I'm not saying it is right. You see, that's the point. The point is, I am not saying it is right. I'm not saying it is wrong. Just as a double standard exists in society, this is just what it is. If people are more open to speaking about their trauma, their history, be open to mental health, be open to things that they would rather address with a potential partner than being scared and being withdrawn and being not willing to be vulnerable emotionally, then society will be a lot further than it is now. But you know what? This is the hand that we have been dealt. So how are we going to change it? So instead of saying, why ask about number or why not ask about number or whatever, I want you all to give me examples of what a person can do. Corb cite his daughter. I see Tanisha citing, we asked about your children. I know other people have children. How are you going to raise your children to understand and empower them to understand the people that they're dating potential partner, and to understand that you're right, a body count should not matter. You should ask the pointed questions, the direct questions. So then basically, if I ask you what traumas are you healing from and you don't answer, then I ain't care what it is or whatnot, you're not willing to talk about certain things, especially as time goes on. So don't let us talk about what is wrong, because we know a lot is wrong with this society and this man-woman thing. That's why we have this space. How do we get past this? I think everybody is here. I know myself, Corbs and I have a lot of conversations because we're in a group of fathers and everything like that. We have conversations about how we are trying to buck the trend for men and women growing up. We have sons, daughters, whatever. We're trying to raise better people in this society. But not everybody raising the children like we are. Not everybody is as vigilant as we are. 20 years now, when our children go up there and they're meeting people that say, oh, we bought it. You know, I slept with 2 people, but really slept with 20. Body count don't matter. Let's ask the pointed questions, this and that, and the next. And not teaching them how to do due diligence. And they spend 5-10 years with this partner, and then one day the person just decides to flee. They have a heartbreak. They have to get a divorce. How do we change society? By each one cleaning their corner. That's what I would say. And as I would say again, it matters to some people. Some people would rather answer that than answer certain questions that they themselves can't answer. And I see it as a very multi-layered thing because people going through a lot. So what ain't important to Ray say a number ain't important to him because he may have a level of self-confidence and discerning the attributes of a person, if they're a good person or a bad person, and he can spot that as soon as he see a person or after 2 interactions. Some of us gotta see it after 5 years. The point is that we come from different backgrounds and we come from different experiences. Therefore, how about we stop talking about the past and us start raising proper people? Because I don't know what to say here, people. We quibbling on semantics. We quibbling on looking down on certain thought processes, and we are a result of things that have happened to us. We are a result of the society that we are brought up in. Is it good? No. Does it make sense? Shoot, no. But this is what it is. I'm not saying it is the best method. I'm not saying it is a proven method, but this is what it is. How do we change it? And I am telling you now, as a man that has dated, right? If you go and ask pointed questions and you go and ask very early, what's your traumas, what are you dealing with, whatever, you are going to run a lot of more people than anything like that. A lot of people don't want to deal with the mental and psychological parts of the traumas that they're dealing with. So then, I guess you just have to wade through the dating scene and not commit until you're absolutely sure someone is healthy in their personality. Anyhow, I ranted. I didn't mean to rant, but I'm not sorry.
Yeah, I just want to, because the point I wanted to make, I think Erica is touching on it here now. She says I wouldn't waste time asking a person about body count. Most will like. Ask how a person perceives sex. Is it just about having fun, satisfying urges? Is it about achieving a level of intimacy? Is it important to determining compatibility? And that is why I kind of took a little bit of a pause just now, because that is the real point there that Erica is trying to make. I think we kind of got lost, or we have gotten lost in what it's really about.
Okay, you go ahead and finish. Because I actually, Tanisha is here making a point. And you know what? She's saying we're not quibbling. We're literally saying the actual number is not important, not the important part. You guys seem to believe it's related to some of the deeper issues, and some of us believe that deeper issues are the deeper issues regardless of the number. Again, I agree, Tanisha. In an ideal world, if I date a woman on the first day, ask her what trauma she's healing from, she will answer and not feel as if I am trying to peer into her soul. I'm not saying my method is right. I'm not saying men's method is right. I'm not saying that people's methods are right. But this is a product of us having heartbreak. You think the first woman I ever dated I asked was her body count? You think the second person I dated? I am flawed and I admit that, and this is what this space is about. So I think there we going on and on. I do believe, though, I hope that there has been some common ground here, because I do agree that the number is not the important part, and dealing with the psychological and deeper issues are the problem. And it comes back to the polygamy, funny enough, because it comes back to are you psychologically able to deal with that? you know. But this is what this space is about, ladies and gentlemen. This space is about having these tough conversations and understanding a bit better, because for me personally, you know, I have realized when I did the body count episode, I realized, you know, the question really should not be how many people you sleep with. The real question is, how committed are you in a relationship? I shouldn't be asking how many people you slept with, but how loyal you were in your relationships. I should be asking questions that are more pointed to your personality and your psyche. So I really enjoy this. I actually really enjoy this. I don't know how you felt about it, Derek. I think that we have a great community. I think that we are always willing to be challenged. Anyway, I tagged the podcast in a video on my page. I think it's worthy of a discussion. Yeah, I agree, Karen. Body count is a proxy for something. Just ask what you really want to ask. Exactly, Erica. That's the point we're trying to make. But we are speaking as two men that have been through very tremendous heartbreak. And the thing is, women ask it too. So it doesn't even matter about the gender. The thing is that ask pointed questions. And if the person ain't willing to answer the first time, second time, third time, the first month, second month, third month, the first year, second year, third year, left it out. The body count is a quick way of doing it because we live in an instant world. We ain't trying to stick up. We ain't willing to kill 5 years when we could just ask the body count and make our own assumptions, which is, sorry to say, not a very proven method, as I said, but it's a tough conversation, man. It's a tough juggling act. It's a tough juggling, and a lot of people are not in tune with themselves to answer questions very pointedly. So, and then, you know, you're all talking about lying about body count and number and everything like that, but you know what? People will lie about their trauma. People will lie about being in a bad, messed up space, especially if they don't know you. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't have the answers, and as much as you guys are trying to tell us what the answer is, the truth of the matter is, case by case, it differs. And the most thing we can do is keep talking, keep having these discussions, and keep trying to have people understand that, you know, mental health is very important. The way we look at life and the world is very important and very different. And I talk and I preach it. So take it away, Derek.
Yeah, guys, it's been great. As always, check us out, Facebook, The Senate Podcast, YouTube, The Senate Podcast, IG, The Senate Podcast 246. And if you have anything you need to submit that you figure be an interesting discussion, you can send it to us at senateinsession@gmail.com. I think we could easily extract a little bit more to this on Thursday.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been an interesting discussion.
It really has. And keep challenging us. Keep challenging us. Keep challenging us. We don't want yes men in this chat, or women. Sorry.
Yeah, it's really not an echo chamber. So yeah, continue to put forth your thoughts, your ideas. We appreciate the challenge. And yeah, bring a friend next time. Continue to share. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Yeah, be the best version of you for you.
Yep.
And we'll see you on Thursday, guys.
Yep. Peace and love, everybody.
Keep it moving, we're still moving. Cause we're still moving. Step on, step on. Hey.